Hi, in this video we're going to look at how to set up your business ledger. So once you've set up your Xero account, which you can do through the Xero homepage, you can start the setup guide for a business or for a company in your Xero account. This is the first page that you'll see. There's just a bit of basic information about how to set up, but we'll go through all that information as we go through the setup. So I'm going to hit next. The first page up is the organisation details. So the first one to be mindful of is the organisation type. So these top three, you will have more than likely registered with Companies House if you have one of them. So you should know all the information surrounding them. So you can just select the one that is most relevant for your business. If you're just using this for home finances, something like that, then you can just click person. Or if you're a sole trader, i.e. actually running a business, which will go through your personal tax return because it's not going through a registered entity, then you'll select sole trader. But if you're not sure which one of these you are, then the best thing to do is ask your accountant or bookkeeper. So I'm going to set up a limited company on this one. I don't actually have a registration number for my pretend limited company, so I've just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you should know what that registration number is because it will show up, as it says here, on VAT return, reports, sales invoices, etc. Especially important for the sales invoices because that will go out to your customers and clients. Legal trading name, again, if you're a limited company, then that should be fairly obvious. You should know what it is. If you're a sole trader or person, I would just put your name in there. And display name, that's what will just show up in Xero. So it won't appear on any documents as your legal or trading name will, as it says under here, but it will show up here. So if you have a particular reason for wanting to show something different in Xero compared to what you show on your invoices, then that's the place to change it. I tend to leave them the same because I have no reason for showing something different. Now over here, the last bit of the top section is your line of business. In this scenario, I'm setting up a hairdressing business. So I've just put hairdresser. Contact details, you've got 2 address boxes here. If you're a registered business, company, partnership, whatever, then your registered office address will need to go into that section. And if you have a separate physical address, i.e. an office or a retail outlet or something like that, then you might want to put your physical address in there. Alternatively, it might just be the same. But the registered office address is the main one to put in. And you can use that link there, copy postal, if it happens to be the same. Down here, social links. If you want your social media links to appear on your online invoices, then you can put that here. So down here we've got the save and quit. So if you have to stop at any point, this is on every page. So if you need to stop at any point, then just click that and it will save your current progress. But for now, I'm going to click next. Financial settings. Your financial year end, if you've got it set up as a specific year end for your registered business, registered company, partnership, whatever, then that's what you'll need to put in there. If it's sole trader or you're just your personal, I would recommend setting that as your tax year end. So either the 31st of March, if you want to keep it as round months, or the 5th of April. So I'm going to leave it as March the 31st. It's usually the end of a month for most companies' year ends, unless there's a specific reason why not. It's generally going to be a year end, a month end sometime. Right, the VAT scheme. If you know you haven't signed up, then click none. If you know you have signed up, you'll need to know which scheme you've signed up for, which you will probably know if you did the application, but if you didn't, your accountant did, your husband, wife did, your bookkeeper did, somebody else did, then you need to find out from them which scheme you've used. But if you don't know, I would recommend hitting none, and then you can change that from within the account when you need to. Bax number, if you've got one, and your time zone. Okay, invoice settings. Obviously, an invoice has been set up called standard, and this is the template that it will use for every invoice that you set up. So if I click on edit, you can see there's various different options that you can change in here. It's just a question of playing really and seeing what you like the look of best. You can set up multiple templates. So for example, with Elysian Island, I have got Elysian Island is a limited company, but I also trade as Xerotopia. So there's two different brandings there effectively. So I could set up an Elysian Island branding theme and I could set up a Xerotopia. So depending on who I'm sending an invoice out to or a document out of Xero out to, then I can choose which branding it shows. Down here, the quickest way to show you is by showing you an invoice that I made earlier. That feels a little bit Blue Peterish. So over here we've got show column headings. That would be these bits along here. So if you don't want that bit to show because you think it's fairly obvious what we're seeing here, then you can take them away. Show unit price and quantity. That would be these two columns. If you don't want to show this breakdown, you just want to show the final price, then uncheck that box. Show payment advice cutaway. So I've unchecked that one for now because I don't like what it looks like. I don't really see the point of them anymore. They used to be there so that you could send it back with your check when you pay, but very few people pay by check these days. Show registered address. Again, that's going to be showing your registered address information. I would recommend keeping that on there. Show logo. That's going to be up here. You can choose whether you show it in the right or the left, which is just over here. Logo alignment, left or right. And a few other options. Terms and payment advice. So that's this section of writing just down here. Sorry, the bit underneath the bold. When paying by check. So that area there will show what you've got written in this box. And on quotes, you can show something different. So if I save that, the other option that you've got there is to upload your logo, which I won't do now because it's just a standard browse to find your logo. Up here we've got default settings. So this is going to be your actual payment terms. So you can set these on each invoice, or you can set a standard one which you can then change on the invoice. So if your standard payment terms are 30 days after the bill date, and that's your bill's default date and your invoice's default date. So that's going to be 30. In fact, no, let's do that something different. 7 days after your invoice date. The other options are of the following month, so that would be the 7th of the following month, or 7 days after the invoice date, 7 days after the end of the invoice month. So if I did an invoice on the 15th of April, then my default due date would be the 7th of May and 7th of the current month. Automatic sequencing. This is a good thing to do. It will automatically number your invoices. So you can change your invoice prefix. So INV, that's indicating that it's an invoice, but you could easily go hair, seeing as we're a hairdresser. So now all my invoices would be hair hyphen and the number. And the credit note, again, you can change that if you want to, but the standard is CN, purchase order, PO, quote, QU. And it will always just use the next number in the sequence. Show outstanding bills. This will be in the online invoices. Quote expiry date. If you send a quote out to a customer, then you may want it to expire. So you can say 30th of the following month. Again, you've got the same sort of options as your bills and sales. Save. Okay, moving on to the next section, inviting users. So you can see here that my main account is set up as a user. already, and so is this Xerotopia recording account is set up, but you can add other people. So if you're setting this up on your own and you want to be able to add your accountant or your bookkeeper, then this is where you would do it. But again, you can also do that from inside your Xero account with the green banner. Currencies, if you've got currencies to set up, then you can do right here. All you need to do is click the plus currency. It pretty much works as expected. All these exchange rates are updated every hour from xe.com. So then you can just add currency. You can also change the currency exchange rate manually from within Xero. So next, I'm not going to add any foreign currency in this one. Okay, so the chart of accounts, you've got three options. Either you can use the default, import from file, or keep the current chart of accounts. We'll just keep the current chart of accounts, which is actually the default provided by Xero, but we can change that. If you want to import, I'll show you how to do that in a separate importing video. So confirm your chart of accounts. So you can see here all of your accounts that are set up. There's loads in here. The best thing to do is just to work from the top and delete anything you don't want. So if there's anything here you don't want, then you can just tick it and hit delete. When you delete it, you will have two options. You can either archive or you can delete. What you're doing here is deleting, and as it says there, deleting accounts is permanent and cannot be undone. If you just want to archive them, which will prevent any transactions from being posted to them within Xero, but it doesn't delete them completely, you can archive them, but not from this screen. You can also click on the name and you can change the account type up there, its code, the name of it, and a description. You can also set up the tax setting on here. So if you know that everything going through your revenue sales account will be 20% VAT, then you can change that so it will automatically, as soon as you tell it that it's going to that account, it will automatically say that's 20% VAT, so it applies it. But for now, I would just leave most of this stuff as default. You can change it all from within Xero as you're using it, so it's not really the end of the world. So up here you can add an account. What I usually do is if I say I want to add an account of, I don't know, I want two separate inventory accounts. So we can see that this inventory account is 630 and the next one is office equipment. So I'm probably going to choose a new account number that's going to be between 630 and 710. So if I go back up here, I can go add account and I can just use 640 and fill in the rest. And it will also show you there. So if you didn't have a look at the list before you do it and you tried to type in 630, then it's saying 630 isn't available. Inventory is using that account, so you can't use it. And adding bank account. So you can either add a bank account from here or you can do it from within Xero. I'm going to do it from within Xero because that's a separate video. And once you're happy with it, just click next. So it's reminding me that I haven't set up any bank accounts yet. Yes, I'm going to continue because that's going to be the subject of a whole different video. Right, your conversion date. This is quite important. If you're starting your business new, then all you'll need to do is put this conversion date as maybe the day before you actually started trading. If you're moving across to Xero from a different platform, then depending on when you want your data to start from within Xero will depend what you put here. If you're going to import all of your history and you've got 3 years worth of history, then this date will need to be a date that precedes your 3 years. So maybe the date that you started trading 3 years ago. You can change it from within Xero. So if you get this wrong, it's not the end of the world, you can still change it. So it's not a big problem. You can just hit next. If I'm completely honest, when I go through this setup process, I hit next, 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 next. I don't actually fill in anything here because all of it you can do from within the Xero account, and it means I can do what I want when I need to. So entering your account balances, that's our conversion date, 30th of September. So we'll put in any outstanding balances that we have at that point. Obviously, if it's new business, then your account balances will all be Xero. If it's an existing business that you're moving across onto Xero, then you may well have some account balances that you'll need to put in. So I'm going to click next, and your setup is complete. So if I click finish, then we're taken through to the dashboard. So what I would suggest you do now is go and have a look at my introducing the dashboard video, as that will show you how you can set up your dashboard to be most useful to you. I hope you found that useful, and thank you for watching. Bye.